The hidden pain of abuse. Breaking the cycle of shame and misconception. Abuse leaves scars, some visible, most hidden beneath layers of silence, shame, and societal misunderstanding. For those who have endured physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, the aftermath is often a private battlefield. Many suffer quietly, afraid to speak out due to fear of judgment or disbelief. Others channel their pain into advocacy, becoming voices for the voiceless, while a small fraction tragically perpetuate the cycle by becoming abusers themselves. Yet, a pervasive stigma clings to survivors, the assumption that those who have been abused are destined to abuse others. This harmful myth not only shames victims, but also muddies the waters of justice, especially when false accusations, like those of pedophilia, destroy innocent lives and dilute the gravity of real offenses. The silent majority. The majority of abuse survivors carry their burdens in silence. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, nearly 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men in the United States have experienced severe physical violence by an intimate partner, yet many never report it. Shame, fear of retaliation, or the belief that they won't be taken seriously keep them quiet. Take, for instance, the story of Sarah, a pseudonym for a woman whose case was documented by RAIN, Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. Sexually abused by a family member as a child, Sarah didn't speak out until her 30s. "I thought people would blame me," she said. "I felt dirty, like it was my fault." Her silence wasn't weakness, it was survival. For countless others like her, the stigma surrounding victimhood creates a prison of isolation. Advocates rising from the ashes. Then there are those who transform their pain into purpose. Consider Elizabeth Smart, kidnapped at 14 and held captive for 9 months, enduring repeated sexual assault. After her rescue in 2003, Smart could have retreated into privacy. Instead, she became an advocate, founding the Elizabeth Smart Foundation to combat sexual violence and support survivors. "I want victims to know they're not alone," she has said. Her work challenges the narrative that survivors are broken or tainted, proving that victimhood doesn't define a person's future. Advocates like Smart and countless others who speak at local shelters, write books, or share their stories offer hope. Yet they often face skepticism or the insidious assumption that their past makes them suspect. The dangerous minority and the harmful stereotype. A small percentage of survivors do become abusers, a fact often weaponized to paint all victims with the same brush. Research, such as a 2019 study from the Journal of Interpersonal Violence, suggests that while childhood abuse can increase the risk of later abusive behavior, the vast majority of survivors, over 80%, do not perpetuate violence. The stereotype that hurt people oversimplifies a complex issue, ignoring factors like mental health, support systems, and personal choice. This misconception harms survivors like James, a man falsely accused of abusing his stepdaughter because he'd been abused as a child. In a 2021 interview with The Guardian, James described losing his job and family after the unfounded rumor spread. "People assumed I was guilty because of my past," he said. "It's like being punished twice." The devastation of false accusations. False accusations, particularly of pedophilia, amplify the damage. The label carries a visceral weight. Few crimes provoke such universal revulsion. When wielded carelessly, it can ruin lives. In 2018, a British man named David Bryant was falsely accused of historical child abuse by a woman seeking revenge after a workplace dispute. Despite no evidence, Bryant spent nearly 2 years in prison before his conviction was overturned in 2020, as reported by the BBC. By then, his reputation was shattered, his marriage had collapsed, and he'd lost his home. "I thought about ending it," he admitted. Similarly, in 2014, a Texas teacher named Clark Bird was wrongly accused of molesting a student. Cleared after a lengthy investigation, he still lost his career and faced death threats, according to local news outlet KXAN. These cases highlight a grim reality. False claims not only destroy the accused but also weaken the credibility of genuine victims, making it harder for them to be heard. The ripple effect. The harm extends beyond the individual. When someone is falsely branded a predator, the focus shifts from real offenders, diluting resources and attention. Worse, some face vigilante justice. In 2019, a man in the UK, misidentified online as a pedophile due to a viral rumor, was attacked by a mob and hospitalized, as reported by The Independent. Others, overwhelmed by despair, take their own lives. A 2022 study from the American Psychological Association noted a correlation between public shaming and increased suicide risk, particularly in cases of baseless sexual misconduct allegations. A call for clarity and compassion. The stigma tying abuse victims to future abuse is a lazy shorthand that ignores the resilience of most survivors. It shames those who suffer in silence and undermines advocates fighting for change. False accusations, especially of pedophilia, compound the problem, turning a serious crime into a weapon that wounds indiscriminately. We must reject these myths and listen to survivors, whether they whisper their pain or shout it from the rooftops. Justice demands precision, not assumptions. For every Elizabeth Smart, for every Sarah or James, and for the countless unnamed, it's time to replace judgment with understanding and accusation with evidence. Only then can the cycle of shame truly break.